Hello, a very good evening and welcome to Primetime News on TV1 for the Newsfirst, where the people come first. I'm Martin Satyanesan. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for this evening.
President says all necessary measures will be taken to eliminate underworld activities. Suspect in Ghane Mullah Sanjeeva murder case detained for questioning. Elephant herd killed in train collision. Lal Kanta says the president has presented the first leftist progressive budget. Cabinet approves solar power plant project in Sampur. Innovation Island Sri Lanka summit commences.
On to those stories in detail. President Anurukumara Dissanayake has emphasized that all necessary measures will be taken to eliminate underworld activities in the coming period.
The first meeting of the Ministry of Defence Advisory Committee of the 10th Parliament was held today under the leadership of President Anurukumara Dissanayake. During the meeting, the President stated that investigations have revealed the infiltration of underworld elements into certain official institutions responsible for public safety. President Dissanayake stressed that comprehensive actions will be undertaken to completely eradicate underworld activities, although it may take some time to achieve this goal. Minister of Justice and National Integration Attorney at Law Harshuna Nanakara also addressed the meeting, stating that a proposal has been prepared to enhance the security of judicial complexes. The minister further explained that this proposal will be submitted to all relevant parties, including lawyers, and that steps will be taken to strengthen the security of judicial complexes using modern technology.
Sri Lankan detectives informed the court that the suspect and driver involved in the murder of Ghane Mullah Sanjeeva, a known gang member, have been detained by the Colombo Crimes Division for 72 hours for questioning under the provisions of the Prevention of Terrorism Act. The suspect, identified as Samindu Dilshan Piyamanga Kandanarachi from Maharagama, who allegedly carried out the shooting, and the driver Mahesh Sampath Priyadarshana from Millennia, who drove the getaway vehicle, have been named as suspects in the case.
Samindu Dilshan Piyamanga Kandanarachi from Maharagama, who allegedly carried out the shooting, and the driver Mahesh Sampath Priyadarshana from Millennia, who drove the getaway vehicle, have been detained under the Prevention of Terrorism Act. Officers from the Colombo Crimes Division also informed court that in addition to the two suspects currently in police custody, further investigations have been launched to apprehend other suspects, including a woman who allegedly assisted in the shooting. Senior lawyer Ajit Pathirana and his legal team appeared in court on behalf of the suspects, requesting that the suspects not be taken to any location without court permission and that the lawyers be allowed to meet with the suspects. The Chief Magistrate granted the lawyers' request, ordering the Colombo Crimes Division not to move the suspects without court approval and to allow two lawyers to meet with them. Meanwhile, security measures at the Hulsdorf court premises have been tightened following the incident yesterday. A local inspection was conducted today at the Colombo Court number 5, where Ghane Mullah Sanjeeva was shot, and Newsfirst correspondents said that a bullet fragment was found lodged in the witness box. Additionally, a petition was submitted to the Colombo Chief Magistrates Court today by the family of Mohammed Azam Sheriffdeen, claiming injustice due to the public naming of another individual as the suspect in the murder of Ghane Mullah Sanjeeva. Ghane Mullah Sanjeeva, also known as Sanjeeva Kumara Samararatna, was shot and killed last morning inside court number 5 at the Hulsdorf Magistrates Court complex in Colombo. The suspect who carried out the shooting was arrested last evening in Puttlam by officers of the Special Task Force. According to the information revealed so far, the suspect purchased a white outfit from a clothing store in Nugegoda after the shooting. He then changed into the white outfit and travelled to Kochikade court premises in a three-wheeler. From there he boarded a van and fled to Puttlam. He was arrested at around 4:30 p.m. yesterday. The suspect, identified as Samindu Dilshan Piyamanga Kandanarachi, also used the aliases Mohammed Azman Sheriffdeen and Kodikara Kasun Prabhat Nishanka. He had joined the military last year but deserted during basic training. Later, he officially left the military service as confirmed by the military spokesperson. The police said that the van used by the suspect to flee to Puttlam has been impounded and the driver of the vehicle has been taken into police custody. The shooter, who posed as a lawyer, is suspected of committing several previous murders. On the 13th of December last year, he allegedly carried out a shooting at the house of Ranjit Kumara, also known as Konda Ranjit, a suspected drug trafficker. He is also known to reside in Dubai with his wife and children. The police suspect that the criminals Mununudinu Padmasiri, also known as Kesal Badara Padme, and Commando Salintha contracted the murder of Ganemulla Sanjeeva. They promised a payment of approximately 15 million rupees, of which the shooter received 200,000 rupees. During the questioning, the suspect revealed that the remaining amount was promised to be paid in India. Ganemulla Sanjeeva was accused of the murder of Neville Padmasiri, Kesal Badara Padme's father, which occurred 7 years ago in February. Meanwhile, the police are seeking public assistance to apprehend a woman who allegedly aided in the shooting. The police media division announced that a cash reward would be offered to anyone providing information about the woman. A constable from the Negombo police station was arrested today by the Colombo Crimes Division on suspicion of communicating with the woman via phone. Meanwhile, the relatives of Ganemulla Sanjeeva arrived at the Institute of Forensic Medicine and Toxicology this afternoon to claim his body.
Minister of Public Security Ananda Vijaypala emphasized in Parliament today that there is no threat or breach to national security. The minister made this statement in response to an assertion by opposition leader Sajith Premadasa regarding the shooting incident at the House of Court yesterday.
ජාතික ආරක්ෂාවට බරපතල බලපෑමක් සිද්ධ වුණේ අධිකරණ භූමිය තුල ඒ සිදු වුණු ඝාතනය ඒ අනාරක්ෂිත භාවය තහවුරු වුණා. මට දැනගන්න තිබෙනවා ගරු කතානායකතුමා අධිකරණයේ
A serious impact on national security occurred following the murder within a courtroom. This incident confirmed the lack of security. I need to know, Honourable Speaker, especially about the security provided to judges who perform the most significant duties in the judiciary. However, it was earlier notified that the security of these judges will be withdrawn. The government must pay serious attention to the security of judges, the general public, the media and all citizens. I also remind you, Honourable Speaker, that you have a responsibility to ensure the safety of members of Parliament and the public representatives. Necessary steps must be taken to address this.
මහජන නියෝජිතින්ගේ ආරක්ෂාව පිළිබඳවත් මම හිතන්නේ ඔබතුමාට වගකීම තිබෙන්නේ මේ සියලු දෙනාගේම බාරකරු හැටියට ඒ පිළිබඳවත් ඔබතුමාගේ අවධානය යොමු කළා ඒකට අවශ්‍ය නිසි පියවර ගන්නට කටයුතු කරන්නට ඕන
විශේෂයෙන් ඊයේ දිනේ අධිකරණයේ සිදු අවාසනාවන්ත සිදුවීම් පිළිබඳව අපගේ කනගාටුව පළ කරනවා ඊයේ දිනේ සිද්ධියේදී සිදු වෙඩි තැබීම සම්බන්ධයෙන් රජය බරපතල අවධානය යොමු කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒ පිළිබඳව අවශ්‍ය තීන්දුව తీරන අරන් තියෙනවා වගේම පැය කිහිපයක් ඇතුළත සැකකරු අත්අඩංගුවට ගැනීමට හැකි වුණා.
In recent days, we've witnessed clashes between criminal gangs in the country. The government has taken serious note over the shooting that took place yesterday. While the necessary decisions and actions have been taken, the individuals or suspect responsible for the shooting was arrested within a few hours after the crime was committed. He was identified as Samidu Dilshan Pumanga Kandanarachi, a resident from Maharagama. He was arrested at 4:30 p.m. in Palavia yesterday. The investigations are ongoing. The van in which he was travelling was seized and the driver was also arrested. Investigations are also underway with regard to a woman who is also a person of interest. The incident has not had any impact or threat to national security. These are underworld criminal acts that are taking place in various locations. These are clashes taking place between these criminal gangs and these have been taking place from time to time. During the reign of those who now claim that national security has been undermined, media institutions were set on fire. Journalists were also killed, along with other individuals. Some of these crimes were investigated for over a decade with no success. The suspect who was arrested yesterday is also linked to several other murders that took place in recent weeks. As soon as a crime of such nature takes place, we investigate these cases individually and take the necessary action. There is no need to label an isolated incident as a threat to national security. We have ensured the security of the nation and the national security. We assure you with confidence that we will bring anyone to justice, whether it is a murder, bribery, corruption or financial crime. We have plans to address all these issues. The Honourable Opposition Leader mentioned that security of judges and judicial officers has been reduced or withdrawn. No such reduction or withdrawal has occurred in the judicial sector. Security has been provided as required. The police have continuously provided security around the court premises and gates. However, internal security was handled by private security agencies. Police officers were not allowed to carry weapons inside the court. This is the primary reason for this unfortunate incident. we are ready to provide security to anyone who needs it, including the general public, dignitaries and media personnel. There is no issue regarding the safety of journalists. There has been no breach of national security. We are investigating each incident separately and taking swift action to bring those involved in the underworld activities and drug-related crimes to justice.
සපයන්නත් අපි සූදානම් මේ පිළිබඳව කිසිදු ගැටලුවක් නැහැ මාධ්‍යවේදීන්ගේ ආරක්ෂාව පිළිබඳව සැලකිලිමත් යුතු ඒ පිළිබඳව කිසි ගැටලුවක් නැහැ කිසිදු ආකාරයේ ජාතික ආරක්ෂාව බිඳවැටීමක් සිද්ධ වෙලා නැහැ අපි මේ සිදුවෙන හැම සිද්ධාක්ම වෙන වෙනම ගෙනල්ලා විමර්ශනය කරලා ඉතාම කඩිනමින් නීතිය ඉදිරියට පාතාල ක්‍රියාකාරකම් ඇතුළු මත්ද්‍රව්‍ය වලට සම්බන්ධ වන් නීති ඉදිරියට ගෙන්න කටයුතු කරනවා
සියලුම ආරක්ෂක අංශවල සියලුම නිලධාරීන් ඉදද්දී වෙඩි තැබීමක් සිදු වුණා නම් මේක ජාතික ආරක්ෂාවට ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ කියන්නේ කොහොමද
මේක සුළු සිදුවීමක් හැටියට කිසිසේත්ම මහජන ආරක්ෂක ඇමතිවරයා
Neither the Minister of Public Security nor anyone in the government has ever stated that this is a minor incident. The Minister of Public Security emphasized that the national security is assured, and such incidents have been reported during clashes between organized crime gangs, and we are conducting a thorough investigation into the organized crime, drug trafficking, money laundering and political connections behind these incidents.
විමර්ශනය කරනවා
ඒ වගේම තමයි ආනන්ද විජේපාල අමාත්‍යවරයා අද කිව්වා මේ සැකකරු මීට කලින් අපරාධ ගණනාවක් කරලා තියෙනවා කියලා. මේ සැකකරු මීට කලින් ඝාතන කරලා තියෙද්දි ඌ අත්අඩංගුවට ගන්න නැතුව ඊයේ වෙනකන් ඉන්න හේතුව මොකද්ද මොනවද ඊට අදාළව කරලා තියෙන විමර්ශන?
ලංකාවේ පසුගිය කාලයේ සිදු වුණු
Not all suspects involved in the past murders in Sri Lanka have been arrested yet. You may have noticed that in the past 2 weeks, the government has brought in several suspects from Dubai and India. Yesterday, 3 more suspects were extradited. These investigations are being carried out swiftly. Therefore, I cannot specify all the murders this individual has committed at this time. Investigations are ongoing and he is being questioned. If there are others involved, their details will be revealed during these interrogations. Since the questioning is not yet complete, I cannot provide all the details here.
ප්‍රශ්න කිරීම අවසන් නැති නිසා මට ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් සියලු විස්තර තොරතුරු මෙතන කියන්න බෑ.
The inaugural edition of the Innovation Island Summit commenced today in Colombo, bringing together delegates from 50 countries to explore the transformative dynamics of island nations, the innovations emerging from them, and their impact on the global stage. President Anurukumara Dissanayake delivered the keynote address at the summit this evening.
Innovation Island Summit is organized with the aim of making Sri Lanka a global hub for innovation. Ministers, parliamentarians, senior state officials, diplomats and top experts from various fields from 50 countries are participating in this event. The conference was inaugurated by Amitabh Kant, the creator of Incredible India campaign and considered the father of tourism promotion in India. Samir Saran, chairman of the Observer Research Foundation, Santosh Jha, Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Sashi Raja Mahendran, chairman of the Capital Maharaja Group, and Siobhan Daniel, group director of the Capital Maharaja Group, among others.
Thank you.
This is the first time in history that a conference dedicated solely to innovation is being held, providing a platform for countries like Sri Lanka to showcase their capabilities and their new discoveries on an international stage.
Sri Lanka is on the cusp of potentially a very big change. People's aspirations and expectations have found a new expression in the 2 elections held in Sri Lanka last year. The COVID pandemic and the economic crisis in Sri Lanka has underlined the need for a transformation that many Lankans have yearned for generations to happen. Second, blue, green and chrome as the 3 themes of the conference are most suited for Sri Lanka in its quest for transformation. Blue is an obvious choice given that Sri Lanka is an island surrounded by waters with huge potential. Green too is appropriate as Sri Lanka as an island country is particularly vulnerable to climate change. It is also blessed with rich potential for green energy, including for exports to other countries and in the larger Asian region. And chrome because digitization has become the new currency for low middle income countries to transcend their entrenched inefficiencies. and to outgrow them, to position themselves to take full advantage of the many new opportunities and an emerging geotechnological age. As far as we in India are concerned, we are engaged with Sri Lanka on the basis of our neighborhood first policy and Sagar approach. Today, our relations are better than ever before and spread across a wide range of domains. Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, has described connectivity, energy, and digitization as the three principal pillars of our partnership. We are also engaged in other areas such as health, education, ports and airports, agriculture, fisheries, in addition to the security and defense cooperation that is very important.
Amitabh Kant, architect of Incredible India, and India's G20 Sherpa also addressed the summit. Thereafter, he took part in a panel discussion with Samir Saran, the president of Observer Research Foundation.
Mr. Kant, you have an old relationship with tourism. You are seen as architect of branding India, Incredible India, branding Kerala, God's own country. You've been passionate about the ecology and geographies and how do you attract people to come and visit and explore them. You're sitting in a country which is by design a tourist haven in some sense. I believe this year we've had a very strong tourist season, and they have, I think, a couple of seasons in the year, so it's a 7 or 8 month tourist destination country. What can we learn from Sri Lanka? And perhaps what can Sri Lanka pick from our own experience, journeys through the years? On tourism, your view on tourism, how important, how should we make it sustainable, and how should we make it attractive for the higher paying customers? That's something you've been speaking about.
So first let me say that there is no product like Sri Lanka. There are very few destinations in the world which have beaches, which have wildlife, which have culture, which have architecture, which have history, which have backwaters, all combined together, and food, and cuisine, and culture, all this. No other destination in the world has a product like Sri Lanka. My view about Sri Lanka is that it needs to go up the value chain, and therefore it's a destination which, to my mind, should never be sold for less than about $600 to $700 a night, and that's a question of how you position, because we are selling. If you sell a destination for peanuts, you will get monkeys, and you are selling it too cheap. But to my mind, Sri Lanka is better than Kerala. Sri Lanka's Human Development Index, its physical quality of life index, and its natural beauty is 10x better than Kerala.
Group Director of the Capital Maharaja Group, Shevan Daniel, also addressed the summit.
And ultimately, it's about ideas. I think it was Victor Hugo who once said that there is no army on earth who can withstand the force of an idea whose time has come. And I somehow feel this morning, or this afternoon, that the idea is a new world that we are creating, and our time is now. You know, Mr. Khan, we are very proud of you. I'll tell you why. We are proud of you as the Global South, because as a thought leader, you stand shoulder to shoulder with thought leaders from around the world, and it's nice to see a brown face amongst them, telling the world what it is, as it is.
The inaugural Innovation Island Summit will take place tomorrow.
Chief Advisor to the President on Digital Economy, Dr. Hans Vijay Surya, during a panel discussion at the Innovation Island Summit said the country's aspiration is to increase its digital economy to over 12%, with a target of reaching closer to 15%.
Now, Sri Lanka's digital economy today is 2 to 3% of the total economy, whereas our aspiration is to get to north of 12%, and I think India, for example, is targeting 18 to 20% by 2030. Our aspirations are to get closer to 15% in terms of digital economy as a part of the whole economy. Now, why is that important? I think global examples, global correlation that we see shows that the deeper digital penetration goes into the broader economy, whether it be into industry or into services or pure digital platforms, the deeper you go, the higher the uplift you get on GDP growth. So that a country which is growing at business as usual rate of, say, 4% could aspire to anywhere between 5 and 6%, depending on the penetration of the digital economy. And so that's where the government, in invigorating the private sector, providing the platforms, digital public infrastructure, for example, providing the open interface and also the open and enabling environment to enable digital transformation of multiple industries, to enable digital transformation of government services, with a keen eye on inclusion to make sure that we don't leave anyone behind, that we actually bridge the existing divides and ensure that going forward that we carry the entire population along this journey, build infrastructure and promote new tech and innovation.
Speaking at the Innovation Island Summit earlier this evening, President Anurukumara Dissanayake said that the aspiration for Sri Lanka is to become a co-competitor among other states, with digitalization playing a crucial role in achieving this goal.
අපි ආරම්භයේදීම රේස් එක දුවන්න
We are not a team that crossed the start line to run the race. Some have already run this race. We have to trail after them in this race. Our attempts are to pace forward and become a co-competitor. We have not reached this position yet. We are facing an unfair race. As a result, it has negatively impacted the Sri Lankan economy, community and livelihoods. Our aspiration is to become a co-competitor among other states. Digitalization will be instrumental in rising up to that level. Against this backdrop, I wish to extend an invitation to our international partners and investors. Bring in their investments. Sri Lanka already has a positive environment for new innovation and business. Sri Lanka also possesses a strategic location and a skilled workforce. Instead of a politically focused economy, we have a new government that focuses on the country's priorities. I also wish to extend an invitation to the local entrepreneurs and the new innovators. Dream big. Don't be afraid to take the risk. Think beyond your boundaries. We are ready to support your ideas from thought to the end product.
සීමාවන්ගෙන් ඔබට සිතන්න. ඔබගේ අදහසේ සිට අවසන් ප්‍රතිඵලය දක්වා වූ ගමනේදී අප ඔබට සහාය වීමට සූදානම්.
News first with the people.
Seven more wild elephants had to permanently leave the forest due to human actions. Following an incident, conducting a post-mortem examination is not difficult, but this issue certainly requires an answer. Who is to blame?
The Neenagaya Intercity Express train travelling from Batiklo to Colombo reached the 141st milepost near Galloya at around 11:30 last night. At that moment, 7 elephants crossing the railway tracks were knocked down by the train. 6 elephants died on the spot, 5 of which were female. The ages of the elephants were revealed to be 30, 15, 8, 3, 2 years and 8 months. Wildlife veterinarians from Girithale and officials from the Kaudulla National Park arrived at the scene to provide treatment. A 3-year-old elephant calf, unable to bear the pain of severe injuries, was seen laying down. The immense maternal love of elephants was evident here. Newsfirst correspondent reported that the maternal elephants died later. Did the Neenagaya train derail because it could not bear this sorrow? Train services on the Batiklo route were halted, and the extent of the damage to the railway track indicated the severity of the incident. This incident occurred near the elephant corridor leading from the Kaudulla Reserve to the National Park. A signboard in the area also indicates this.
දැන් එකපාරටම ඩ්‍රයිවර් මාත්‍යට හිතාන්න බැරි වුණාලු මොනවද වුනේ කියලා පාර දෙනකොට යාත් උත්සාහ කරලා තියෙනවා බේරගන්න ඒත් නමුත් ඒ බැරි වල තමයි හැපිලා තියෙන්නේ දැන් අපි කොළඹ ඊයේ රෑ 4 පිටතලා පැය 7ක් මෙතනම ඉන්නවා අපි එක ඉල්ලීමක් කරන්නම් මේ වාගේ සිද්ධ වෙනවා ඒක පළවෙනි වතාවක් නෙමෙයි කී පාරක් සිද්ධ වෙලාද මම එක ඉල්ලීමක් මොනවාරි විභාගයක් හොයන්න මේකට මේ රඩාර් මොනවාරි හයි කරලා මේක ආයි ඉදිරියට වෙන්න නැතුව.
About 10 kilometers from this location at the 146.5 mile post, 2 elephants were killed in an accident 4 months ago. 6 years ago, 4 elephants died in a collision with a fuel transport train. This year, 66 elephant deaths have been reported. Reports indicate that 13 were due to gunshots, 8 from electrocution, 4 from Hakkapatas explosives and 8 from train collisions. Last year, 11 elephants died in train accidents. Despite speed limit signs, why do elephants still get knocked down by trains? Responding to a Newsfirst inquiry, General Manager of Railways, Dhammika Jayasundara said that there was no indication that the train was speeding. He explained that the presence of hills on both sides of the tracks and the curves in the area made it difficult to see elephants ahead, preventing the accident from being avoided. The General Manager also said that elephants in the area have recently become accustomed to crossing the railway tracks. Journalists also questioned this matter during the cabinet media briefing.
Our government has focused their attention on this. We need to find a sustainable solution to this. Many of the proposed solutions have failed. There have been no successful result from any of those proposals. We are gathering experts in the field and discussing on their sustainable solutions that we can implement. We have to move forward while protecting the elephants. We believe that we will be able to find a scientific solution to this.
The Cabinet has granted approval for a joint venture between the Ceylon Electricity Board and India's National Thermal Power Corporation to establish a solar power plant in Sampur, Trincomalee. Under this project, solar power plants with capacities of 50 megawatt and 70 megawatt are to be constructed.
As a government-to-government project, the Ceylon Electricity Board from Sri Lanka and the National Thermal Power Corporation from India have agreed to establish a joint venture company to set up a solar power plant in Sampur, Trincomalee. The first phase will involve a 50 megawatts solar power plant, followed by a 70 megawatts plant in the second phase. Previously, there were plans to build a coal power plant in this area, but those projects did not materialize. Consequently, the CEB and NTPC formed a joint venture company named Trincomalee Power Company Limited to implement the solar power plant project. The Cabinet has approved the proposal presented by the Minister of Power to utilize this joint venture company for the implementation of a 50 megawatt solar power plant in the first phase.
What economic vision does the National People's Power Government's budget reflect? Minister K.D. Lalkantha provided clarification on this matter during today's budget debate.
සියලුම මන්ත්‍රීවරුන්ට සහ එළිය සමහර කෑ ගහන අයට අපි ඇඩම් ස්මිත්ව ප්‍රතික්ෂේප කරලා ගොඩක් කල් ඉතා පැහැදිලි අපි රජයේ ආර්ථිකයට සම්බන්ධ වෙනවා අපේ අය පුරාම ඒ වගේම තමයි කාල් මාක්ස් කරගෙන
I must tell all the opposition members and some of those shouting outside that we have long rejected Adam Smith. It is very clear that we are connected to the government's economy. Throughout the budget, we have shown that Adam Smith's theories failed with the emergence of Karl Marx's capital. How does a neoliberal government relate to the economy? They say we have increased the government's share and that this is Ranil Wickremesinghe's budget. We have made it clear that the government is not being dismantled dismantled. This budget clearly shows that we are not dismantling the government's economy. Our entire budget is based on economic democracy. For a long time, there was no democracy in the economy. The economy was given to close friends and cronies. Only a few were allowed to bring coconut oil and run the rice business. Everyone can now participate in the economy and receive their fair share. This is the principle of the economic democracy. For a long time, they did not receive their fair share. Therefore, this time we have increased the salaries of retirees, private sector employees, plantation workers and public sector employees based on these democratic principles. Under the current administration, for the first time, we have been able to create a farming community that does not cry over low rice prices. No one is protesting about low rice prices. The price of rice cannot exceed 230 rupees. It can only decrease, which is good for consumers. Our president has presented the first leftist progressive budget aimed at bringing economic governance to Sri Lanka. Now, the capitalist class is happy. They are satisfied with this budget. However, they have not been excluded either. It must be said that economic democracy is also fair to them.
පළවෙනි වාමාංශික ජනතාවාදී ප්‍රගතිශීලී අයවැය තමයි අපේ ජනාධිපතිතුමා මේ ඉදිරිපත් කරලා තිබෙන්නේ. දැන් සතුටු වෙනවලු ධනපති පන්තිය. ඒගොල්ලෝ දැන් මේකෙන් සතුටටපත් වෙලා තියෙනවා. හැබැයි අපි ඒගොල්ලන්ව බැහැර කරලත් නැහැ. ඒකත් කියන්න ඕනේ. ආර්ථික ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදය කිව්වම ඒගොල්ලන්ටත් හරි.
Fitch Ratings said that Sri Lanka's revenue-raising drive is key to its credit profile.
Fitch Ratings said that Sri Lankan government's budget highlights the authority's commitment to raising fiscal revenue as a share of GDP, an approach that, if successful, would alleviate a long-standing weakness in the sovereign's credit profile. Nonetheless, risks to the fiscal outlook remain significant, and plans to slow the pace of fiscal consolidation could weigh on prospects for debt reduction over the medium term. It said that President Anurukumar Dissanayaka's budget provides greater clarity over the administration's medium-term fiscal and economic reform agenda. Fitch views most of the budget announcements as being consistent with its assumptions made during the December 2024 assessment, when it upgraded Sri Lanka's rating to CCC Plus from RD or restricted default.
U.S. Ambassador to Sri Lanka Julie Chung met with commanders of the three armed forces.
The U.S. Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Julie Chung, met with the Commander of the Army, Lieutenant General Lasantha Rodrigo, Commander of the Navy, Vice Admiral Kanchana Banaguda, and Commander of the Air Force, Air Marshal Bandhu Edrisinghe. In a post on X, the ambassador said that she met with the military commanders to discuss the strength of U.S.-Sri Lanka security partnership, including maritime security and disaster response. She said that together they are focused on ensuring the Indo-Pacific remains secure with open maritime routes and a free flow of commerce in the Indian Ocean, vital for regional prosperity.
From that, we bring to a close this edition of Primetime News on TV1. Thank you for watching. Take care and good night.